All right, thank you very much. So actually, what I will be focusing on, it would be mostly assessment, but as many of you know, our methodology is quite wider, because what we like to do is taking the companies by the hand and going through the whole process of trying to maximize circularity in their business model, in their activity, in their strategy. So assessment is a key part of that, but we are not just going to focus on assessment. We're using that as the engine for all the other parts, for all the other steps, actually. This is the best way in which we have figured out the approach can be presented graphically. It is actually, someone made me notice that it is actually a great oxymoron, because it's a circular pyramid, which is obviously something that wouldn't exist in reality. But actually, it is a pyramid because we think that you know, this is a tough process of improving your performance, starting from a very wide basis and going up till you reach the top of the pyramid. And the top of the pyramid, it's something that allows you to implement actions for circularity. So we see assessment as instrumental action, which is something that has characterized our work since the very beginning. And I'll let you understand this better by giving some examples of what we have done in most of the projects we have been carrying out in the last years. Actually, let's start from engagement, which is the basis of the pyramid. To us, engagement means basically 2 or 3 different things that we do to prepare companies to you know, cope with the need and with the ambition of being circular. So first of all, we have a tool that we have developed actually back in 2016, if I'm not going wrong, so 4 years ago, and we have developed this tool, which is quite you know, it looks a lot like all those other tools that we have been talking about, because again, this is a tool that it is based on some key indicators outcome when you apply it, and the application of this tool is basically answering some questions. This is what we call the startup toolkit. There are very few questions, and they are, you know, adaptable to the very different context of different organizations in different sectors that we are working with. So, and it happened, as you will see, that we started from this point, but we, you know, totally turned this list upside with many other indicators, as I will show you, that are customized for the different companies. What is important on this approach, I will leave all the details apart, is that this approach, first of all, gives you I'm sorry, I have gone too far, I'm sorry. First of all, it gives you the measure of the pace at which you're going, the speed which you're going towards circularity. Then it tells you how much you're hitting your aim, your target, because this is basically a target you're aiming in the different phases of the circular economy, as we all know them. And then it allows you to benchmark. Actually, I've heard someone talking about benchmarking. Actually, we have started quite earlier, so now more or less 4,000 companies that have adopted the startup toolkit. So we have benchmarks for nearly every sector. Unfortunately, these benchmarks, as many of you know, are on the national level, so we are not able to bench with internationally based corporation. That's the main, you know, drawback of this approach. We have actually experimented this tool with some pioneers back in 2017, some of which, Campari, Feralpi, they're part of the observatory. We thank them very much to let us test this tool a long time ago, yeah, 3 years ago, and with some other companies that are, being involved in some of our one-to-one support project. What we have done, I'm skipping some slides due to time. I don't want to steal you too much time. What we have done actually, and the results coming out of this tool are actually able to position your performance according to the main phases of the circular economy. So what you are doing, how circular you are in procurement, design, production, distribution, transportation, the use phase of the product, and then the end of life of your product. So it gives you an overview of what are your performances in the different phases. This is an example of how we are supporting companies. First, this is an ongoing project with the Union Camere Toscana with a lot of companies. What we are doing, first of all, we are training the company that are going to take part in the experimentation of our tool. So now, while I'm speaking, as you can see here, there is a training initiative going on for these companies on the communication part of the economy. We used to train companies on the tool and how to participate, especially if they are starters in using this tool, because we want to be sure that they are able to be involved effectively. And the startup toolkit, we have been using it in several different projects. This is an example of an Interreg funded project that is called SMART with the Camera di Commercio di Como, is within the observatory, or we have another one with many different companies that was taken. It was taken from the Interreg again and carried out together with the Centro Tessile Cotoniero, which was part of the GEO last year. So this was the first engagement part. So we engage with the startup assessment with the startup toolkit, and we engaged through basically training. Then it comes the heart of our methodology. It's the core, and it has to do with assessment. The big difference is that when we use an assessment method, we do it with a very extended set of indicators. So we have actually hundreds of indicators as a starting point. Why? Because we are not proposing something that the company can fill in. Our support is needed. So this is not actually a toolkit per se. It's not a set of indicators or an online tool, but it's more a checklist, something that we use together with the company, going in field, examining the processes, talking to people with interviews and so on. We collect data. All of these are numbers, are indicators, but the final purpose is, in this case, not just to measure the level of circularity, but I would say also, if not most importantly, to provide companies with hints, ideas, suggestions on how to improve their level of circularity so that they can, go up in the pyramid. So we have worked with many different sectors, but maybe the best example, and I would skip to the project, carrying out with GS1 Italy. GS1, is the consortium that is managing the barcode, and they're quite interested in and it's part of the GEO, obviously. We thank them very much for being part of the observatory. The work that we have carried out with them was, let's say, tailor-made for 3 different sectors that are the sectors in which GS1 is more active, let's say so. Food and beverage, retail and logistic, and home and personal care. We have divided the different companies into working groups, and we have come up through a long process that lasts 1.5 years, actually, well, close to 2 years, actually. We have come up with some scores for the different companies, applying the different customized versions by sectors of our checklist, of our checkup tool. We call it a checkup because actually it's like a medical checkup. It gives you, in this case, positive. If you are green, it means you are either a proactivist in certain, very close to be fully circular. And it gives you some hints also on how your performance is close to the center of the target. So how much you have hit or you're able to hit the dark green, which means you're very, very circular. And we did it. These are different outcome for different companies. Obviously, they're anonymous, but not only we give this feedback, but we have a huge data set of best practice, close to 300 best practice that we have taken all around the world. And I have to thank, actually, in this case, Allen MacArthur, because some of the best practice are taken also from their report. But most of the best practice are our experience in field working with companies. Obviously, all the best practice are, again, anonymous, but they provide us with some ideas to be connected with all the indicators. So each indicator is, let's say, supported by some ideas to improve it. So and we give the ideas together with the outcome of the exercise. Then we pass to the plan and strategy phase. And it means on the basis of your weak points and your strong points too, obviously, we suggest action. We take the company hand by hand and we try to help with the idea generation, let's say so, and the plan to improve your level of circularity. So this is another example project we are carrying out with the Camera di Commercio di Milano. And this is quite a good example. Why? Because it gives you the idea, and also practically it's the same approach that Michelangelo was describing before for E&I. What we do is we apply the set of indicators. We have the results. So you see, for example, for this company, the performance is well concerned. So it's the traffic light is yellow, close to green, so very good positioning as a starting point. Obviously, we know what are the weak and strong points, close to the green or very far on the outer circle, which is red. And what we do is we propose the best practice, or what our experience suggests could be an action to improve that particular performance. And what we do is we simulate what happens to the indicators if they adopt different actions. So this is a simulation, but as you see, with respect to the first one, this is the outcome of the current state. If these actions are adopted, then the speed can increase to 61%. It means proactivist, and you go very close to the center of your target for some of the phases. In this case, obviously, mostly procurement and recycling of your product and the end of life. We also propose some SWOT analysis for the different actions, including cost effectiveness of the action. What we do in this phase also, and the member of the observatory, they actually are quite familiar with this. We use a particular tool to assess the improvement capability of an action. This is a BG Circular, which is a project with Confindustria Bergamo, with many companies, one of which is Nettuno, but with all the others, we did more or less the same thing. We applied LCA. We applied the life cycle assessment, both to measure the level of circularity using basic of impact included in the software of LCA, but most interestingly of all, we compared through the LCA method the environmental impacts before and after the circular innovation. As you see here, for example, these are all the improvements in the different input categories that the company is able to achieve by adopting a new solution for the packaging of his product. And as you can see, throughout the life cycle, some of these improvements are quite astonishing. They're spectacular. And minus 45% it means more or less halving your consumption of mineral resources. Even the energy saved is quite good. So in this way, we support the company in their decision process, because we show that, yeah, they might be spending some money for the innovation, but on the other hand, they might obtain great environmental benefits, and plus some of these environmental benefits might also entail some economic savings, because when you consume less material, you're also spending less for that material. So this is something that we do quite often. We use LCA to support planning, and we did also with another project with Assolombarda in the Milano province. Again, same thing. We did it, and this is quite a very well-known case to all the members of the observatory, because we have presented it millions of times, so I'm not talking about that anymore. But you know that in this case, a new very light keg, recyclable, was compared through the LCA, and it turned out to be a very good solution in terms of environmental impacts. What we do also in this phase of planning, we do networking. We help company in building up network. Because what is very clear in all our experiences of the circular economy is that you can carry out circular economy-oriented actions only together with other partners. And it's very, very rare that the company is able to carry out circular economy within its own process without the help of some external partners. So these are two examples of how we have built networks to carry out the actions we have suggested before. In this case, with some marble companies, together with Confindustria Toscana Nord, with these two in particular, but many others, what we did was marble dust, which had great institutional and regulatory problems. We built up a network together with consortium of producers, but also institutions, Regione Toscana, ARPAT, etc., in such a way to find a legislative way to consider marble dust as either an end-of-waste product or a byproduct of the marble processing industry. So that is how we build the network. Another example is also pertaining to Eni. We are helping, for example, Eni in building networks with the main consumer association to build up common projects for the circular economy, and all the consumers association are very happily participating in this engagement exercise together with Eni in the network, and they are proposing a lot of good ideas that we will try to implement at a later stage. This is called the Circular Lab, and we are working a lot with consumers, anticipating what the Circular Action Plan of the European Commission is now saying, that the consumer is key to carry out circular economy actions and initiatives. The last step, and I'm going to be very quick on that, is we also support companies in the implementation phase. So we also organize and plan things to invest in new technologies, to help networks take life and actually at work. We help companies in developing innovation, in designing new products, and so on. The example that I would like to tell you about is something that I've heard someone has mentioned, the take-back system. This is one thing on which many companies are very hot. They like it. They would like to have some sort of take-back, but take-back is very difficult. It's a huge from the legislative point of view is not that easy. So what we did in this case with Lookout, an old partner of us, we carried out a feasibility study in order to make the take-back system happen. So we built a network, but also we helped them in identifying all the different operational steps to bring it alive. We dealt with the role of each partner, dealt with contracts and commercial agreements between the different partners. We also dealt with, as I told you, the institutional and normative part of the story, which is not easy at all. But we are managing to do that. We are working with Lookout, and this is a very interesting project because they are try to take back and recycle. They already take back and recycle the beverage carton from for example, milk to recycle aluminum and PE component. But what they would like to do further than that is to also take back the boxes for the, for example, handkerchief or towels, and to recycle them to close completely the loop. So we are helping them with the take back system, and we are managing to do that. We have also some further developments in pipeline. We are going to experiment take back system together with Innovando, by the way, which is a member of the Geo Observatory, with some other companies but we have also won some circular economy oriented projects at the EU level. I would say not so common sector of activity like sports events or in the tourism sector. We are about to start a big project with the fashion industry, and we are also trying to extend our network with the young consumer, trying to educate them in schools on the circular economy lifestyle, which is going to be very challenging. Last but not least, as I was telling you, we hope we are going to be able to start a project on the use of robotics and other Industry 4.0 technologies for the circular economy, which is a very hot topic today. And it looks like at least the new recovery fund is focusing on these possible levers to prompt and to feed the recovery from the actual post-COVID crisis. So that's what we will be pushing in the next year. So this was just to give you a very quick overview on what we are doing. I hope that was useful. If you need additional information on the project, you can ask us.